webinar. We appreciate the partnership. Daniel Goldenstein is R&D Group Manager at Check Point and responsible for all of the CloudGuard IS development team and all of the CloudGuard IS product and development line. So we're very happy to have a really technical person presenting today, and Daniel is a great presenter. So without much further chatter, let's get started. What we're going to do during the webinar is first give a very brief introduction to Check Point, some sort of word from our sponsor. Samir will talk about security on AWS, and then Daniel will jump into the meat of the, or at least the Check Point meat of this of the presentation, and talk more about the cloud security blueprints and best practices, architecture solutions for an easy migration to AWS. And then I'll jump on at the end and talk about the 3 new offers. And if I'm speaking quickly, it's because I want to move forward quickly for the real stuff, not the introduction stuff. So a little bit about Check Point for those people who don't know. 100,000 global customers, over 88 countries, 6,200 partners plus and growing. We've been in the business for 25 years, cutting edge technologies. In fact, our CEO is the longest serving CEO in NASDAQ. And we've been there since 1996. One of the things we've been pushing very much recently is something called Infinity, which is a new architecture which includes all securities for everything altogether, and specifically includes data center, offices, endpoint, mobile, IoT, and cloud. Very much in the last 3-4 months have been at the forefront of allowing and supporting and securing employees that are working from home. From all of us today, I'm sure that most of us are actually still at home, and hoping that we will manage to move through this difficult time as easily as possible. Check Point, as I mentioned, has 25 years of industry leadership and of recognition from third-party institutions and organizations and analysts like Gartner, NSS, IDC, Forrester. The latest is a Gartner. We were a cool vendor in cloud security. In fact, I forgot to put this, that we had a very good placement in the Forrester Cloud Workload Security in 2019. A couple of words about Check Point and AWS. We have been an advanced technology partner since 2013. We are marketplace enabled for all Check Point CloudGuard capabilities and all of our different product lines. And marketplace is a wonderful place, a wonderful opportunity for potential customers and partners to be interacting, trialing, and purchasing Check Point and other products. We have a very close technical and product coordination. What I mentioned before, that Samir is our lead. We have regular calls with Samir and other people in the Check Point, in the AWS team. We have been a launch partner. We are launch partners, and we're integrated with multiple AWS security services, Security Hub, CloudFormation, Transit Gateway. Well, CloudFormation is not really a security service, but VPC ingress routing. In fact, I was on a call last night about VPC ingress routing, detective, etc. And why is it of value to customers? Because if you have a secure cloud migration that helps you to move into the additional broad cloud security capabilities, of course, the first stage is the migration. We play very well on private cloud as well, which allows you to manage private and AWS. With a unified security management flexibility and low total cost of ownership. Probably Daniel will talk about that later. As I mentioned, the ease of purchase and deployment from the marketplace, automation, rapid deployment, using CloudFormation templates. We have some slides about that later. And also benefits because of the fact that we're part of the marketplace enterprise discount program. And as you can see, the badge on the bottom right-hand side, advanced technology partners with security and networking, what is it called, capabilities or expertise. And I'm going to quickly go into a poll. So just watch your screen, and then I will, let's see, hopefully you'll be able to see this. So the question is, what is your level of experience with the cloud? And we'd like to hear your feedback. First, answer number one, I have no experience. Number two, I have some experience. I know the basics. Number three, I have a fair amount, but I'm not an expert. Number four, I'm a cloud expert, but I don't know CloudGuard well. And number five, I am a cloud expert, and I know CloudGuard well. So please start voting right now. I can see that people have started voting. It's not too complicated. We'd be very happy to hear your feedback. This will also help us with content for future webinars and to understand, how best to meet your needs and to understand the people on the call. So we're getting voting as they come in at the moment. Please feel free to vote. And I'm being told by BrightTalk that I have to keep this open for at least another 15 seconds. And now 44% of our people that have voted already say that they know a fair amount, but they're not an expert. So let's keep it open. A whole bunch of new people are voting as well. I'm going to leave it open for another couple of seconds. At the moment, it seems that most people either know a fair amount or have some experience, and we have a few experts. I'd say total of 17% of our voters, now 14% of our experts. I'm going to stop voting in a couple of seconds. I think you can continue voting, but I'm now very happy to hand over to Samir, and now that I've finished the introductions, we can get into something that's valuable and interesting. Thank you, Samir.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks, everyone, for joining this morning or whichever time zone you are on. My name is Samir. I'm a Partner Solutions Architect at AWS, and I'm going to take a few minutes to chat a little bit about security on AWS. And so with that said, I want to just briefly touch upon why security has been traditionally so hard for enterprises, and many organizations face challenges, whether it's maintaining or managing the security of their on-premise infrastructure. And that really dovetails into two specific reasons. The first one being the lack of visibility, and the second one being a low degree of automation. Now, when we talk a little bit about lack of visibility, it can start becoming really difficult for customers to know what resources and data are out there in your environment at any given time, where it's moving, who is accessing it, and how it's being utilized. So, for example, you might have different silos of information, and you might need pretty extensive tooling to get a real-time assessment of what data sets are there in each of these different silos, how do they work together, how do you stitch that data together. And typically, this is where customers, while they might have all of the data in different partitions, they don't really have the ability to look at them holistically and take action on it. And this is where, without the help of automation, security teams spend an inordinate amount of time trying to actually look for the needle in the haystack rather than trying to figure out how to deal with the potential problem. So typically, you're used to using manual processes to remediate issues. So think of copying and pasting information from one tool to another. You might be manually applying patches. It's become really difficult to automate these security tasks, not just because you have to stitch all of this information together, but you'll be using disparate third-party tools, some open source tools, and some ingrown tools that all need to work together to sort of make sure that you're able to handle a security event or even assess your security posture at any given time. So manual processes tend to also lead to very inconsistent execution, typos and things like that, but also requires a longer wait time for you to address most of these scenarios. So the goal really for automation is to programmatically handle tasks that would otherwise have been done through a manual process. And this is much easier in the cloud, as we'll walk through, but really the combination of these two aspects being the lack of visibility of the data that you might already have, and the fact that you need to have manual processes to sort of solve for these security challenges really makes security teams go through challenges that they don't need to. So with that said, customers have always been able to, or have always had to choose between either moving fast or staying secure. And due to these, manual security processes, InfoSec teams have always had to slow down things to human speed so they can ensure the security of their organization. But what you'll see with the cloud is it's possible to automate many of the basic security tasks. So think of things like patching, getting the right tooling to gain visibility, and accurately identifying, all of the assets and data that are there in your environment. All of this is made easier so you can stay agile while also maintaining and in most cases improving security. And by providing, by AWS providing all these highly integrated logging and monitoring tools, as well as the ability to automate security functions, organizations have been able to use AWS to both, move quickly while also staying secure. So when you talk a little bit about how AWS elevates its security, security at AWS is really our top priority, and this is why we listen closely to to our customers, and we created a secure cloud computing environment along with innovative security services and controls. Security at AWS really starts with our core infrastructure, and this infrastructure is monitored 24/7 to maintain not just confidentiality, but the integrity and the availability of our customers' data, which is the most important thing for them. The same teams that create these world-class security services can also help that monitor these services also help in designing and developing our security services, which customers have been taking advantage of for a while now. We also have the ability to scale and while you're scaling, provide the visibility and control that customers require, so they're not having to add new things to their instances that are elastically scaling out. But at the same time, we are providing the visibility through things like CloudTrail and CloudWatch for customers to be able to view their infrastructure as it grows. In terms of privacy and data security standards, we have the highest standards of privacy and data security, and we meet a lot of global compliance standards, which I'll dive into a little bit. And we integrate with several security services and provide automation capabilities to things like AWS Lambda. That's a serverless compute platform that allows you to take action on several different events. And finally, we have a large network of security partners and solutions that can be used either through the purchasing through the marketplace, or customers can bring them from their on-prem as well, depending on how the tool works. And that allows you to augment sort of the security tools that we already have, and also provides customers some of the third-party solutions that they've been familiar with in the on-prem world. So when we talk about compliance standards, AWS supports more security standards and compliance certifications than most other folks. So this includes things like PCI DSS, HIPAA, FedRAMP, and other compliance standards. And AWS regularly achieves third-party validations for thousands of global compliance requirements, and we continually monitor to help customers meet security and compliance standards for segments including finance, retail, healthcare, government, and so on. Today we have over 203 significant compliance, governance, and security in certification, and that allows customers to sort of pretty much bring any workload and inherit most of these compliance standards, thereby making their jobs a lot easier when it comes to meeting those specific compliance requirements. So when customers also move to the cloud, they've been used to understanding how to secure their workloads for a good while now, but customers often ask us, what does it mean when I bring my workload to AWS? Where does the responsibility for securing my workload lie? And the way we view it is security is a shared responsibility on AWS, and we delineate it by saying that AWS is responsible for security of the cloud, and customers are responsible for security on the cloud. And what is this difference? So let's take an example. So for customers that might have used Elastic Compute Cloud, which is an ability to spin up an EC2 instance that sort of is like a virtual machine, customers are able to not worry about things like everything from the physical security of the data centers that the infrastructure runs in to the hardware, software that allows for the infrastructure to run, and up till the security of the hypervisor. Where customers really need to take care of the security is for things like making sure that the guest operating system is configured appropriately. You have firewalls in place for allowing specific, network traffic in. You're making sure that any data that's leaving or entering that particular instance is secured, and also you're making sure of things like malware protection and data encryption at rest and in transit. So those are the different aspects that customers would require to be aware of and take action on, as opposed to the other half. So as you then figure out that you now want to use similar network appliances or network-based inspection when you move to the cloud, there are certain design considerations you want to take into or you want to factor in as you put together your environment. And I've listed a few of these, and we'll go through each of them. The first one is direction of traffic. So depending on how traffic is, either ingressing or egressing, you have different mechanisms to both inspect and also architect designs for depending on the direction of traffic. Inbound versus outbound, you might be filtering for URLs outbound to make sure that there's no CNC activity, versus inbound you might be using a WAF to make sure that you're inspecting for things like SQL injection and cross-site scripting attacks. When you also talk about security policies, you want to understand what is the requirement from a security team for inspecting all of this traffic, whether you need only north-south inspection or do you need east-west as well. The third thing that you want to consider is availability requirements. Now you might have customers have typically structured their environments into dev, test, and production. And so each of these different environments might require different availability, right? So your production will have to have the highest amount of availability. Your dev and test, maybe not so much. Your test might mimic your prod, but your dev environment might not require the same amount of availability. You also want to talk about bandwidth to understand how you want to scale up or scale down based on what instance sizes and instance types you're using. And you also want to talk about VPC scale, whether you're using a single VPC for every OU or every account that you use, or maybe you're scaling to hundreds and thousands of VPCs, which means how do you make sure that you can either centralize your security inspection or maybe take another method of making sure that you're inspecting all the traffic. And finally, you want to talk about applications and protocols, which means you want to understand whether you should be using sort of a WAF or you're using an IDS IPS tool or something else. So applications and protocols are the final factor to decide what particular tool you want to use. And so once you had this discussion and you've taken these different factors into consideration, typically we see 5 different architectures that you would use when you deploy network security tools on AWS. The first 2 would concentrate more along the lines of more of a single or dual or multi-AZ design, but more in the form of whether you are using this within a single VPC or not. So this is mostly applicable for your dev test environments, one being interface shifting and the second one being route shifting. Interface shifting is an availability design that allows you to move the elastic network interface of an instance to a secondary instance. This allows for some amount of failover by making sure that the ENI moves via an API call from one instance to the other. Route shifting is typically for again moving traffic egressing from the VPC outbound, where you're pointing the subnet route table routes from one instance to the other. So if we have one instance failing, you move it to the other instance and you have traffic flowing through it. The ELB sandwich is a pretty widely deployed approach, especially for inbound applications, where you're sandwiching a layer of inspection devices between, a network load balancer and an application load balancer. And what this really allows customers to do is to scale their security fleet as their application fleet grows. And this allows you to sort of maintain the elasticity of your application, while at the same time making sure that the security needs are met. And the final point of that is that it allows you to keep your costs at a certain point where you're not always scaling up to the max. The other two approaches, the transit VPC and transit gateway approaches, are typically for multiple VPC designs. And depending on what you're using, you can either use the transit VPC solution, which has a few limitations that talk about how bandwidth can be impacted because you're using IPsec VPNs and things like that, versus AWS Transit Gateway, which allows you to scale to several thousand VPCs and also scale to much higher bandwidths. So let's talk a little bit about AWS Transit Gateway and the typical models that we've seen customers deploy in. So for instance, this is a reference architecture that we've discussed with many folks and we've talked about quite a bit. And this allows for customers to deploy AWS Transit Gateway as a centralized mechanism for routing traffic between your different environments. This can be things like dev, test, and prod, maybe talking to a shared services VPC, or you have your inbound and outbound sort of inspection services in separate VPCs, and you have centralized inspection of all traffic from these different accounts or different environments flowing to these inspection services before they either ingress into your application or egress out of your application. And this allows you to not only centralize your inspection fleet, but also with Transit Gateway, you have the ability to use Resource Access Manager to sort of share Transit Gateway attachments across accounts. And what this allows you to do is provide your networking and security teams the ability to handle the entire security and networking aspects of the workload, and allowing developers to just concentrate on creating the application and just pointing their egress or ingress routes to the transit gateway, which allows them to scale quickly and develop quickly. So that sort of covers what we see as security on AWS and how we've seen network security architectures evolve and where we are today. And so I'm going to pass the ball on to Daniel to talk a little bit about how Check Point leverages these different architectures and designs to help customers secure their workloads on AWS.
Hi. Okay, Jonathan, you will do the poll right now.
So, this is Jonathan again. I'm going to get going on my second poll to the audience, and thanks again to Samir for the first section. And the question is, what webinar content are you interested in for the future? So we're very happy you joined us this time, but we'd like to make sure that we find content that's interesting and valuable for you for the future as well. That's both Check Point and AWS. So the potential answers to the questions are, yes, we'd like more, or I would like more introductory level, 100 level, and basic cloud content. Or I would like intermediate 200 level and cloud security content, more Check Point stuff. Or I'd like more intermediate stuff, but more AWS content. Or I would like expert level and deep dive cloud security content, more Check Point. Or expert 300 level and deep dive cloud security content, more, that shouldn't say Azure, absolutely not. That should say AWS. I wonder how that happened. Terribly sorry. Samir, please forgive me. So please continue voting, and I will gather your questions at the moment. The leaders are intermediate, 200 level, and cloud security content, more Check Point. So I'll leave that open for another couple of seconds so you could add your voting, and we'd be very happy to see you in the future in other webinars. And I'm going to stop the voting in a couple of seconds, and I'm going to hand you over to, and thank you for your voting, I'm going to hand you over to Daniel. So Daniel, take it away.
Yes, hi. Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, Samir, for your lecture. What we are, I will bring in my presentation is how a checkpoint provides security in AWS, how we approach the security and to secure the public cloud environment. So several years ago, we heard from customers similar stories and use cases about the challenges to secure their environment in the public cloud. We understood that there is a demand for best practices for security in the public cloud, and not just by creating your own security, so just kind of a company that will come and bring a design to how to secure the public cloud environment. So therefore, we built a blueprint. We called it a blueprint that is dedicated for security for public cloud, based on our experience and discussions with partners and public cloud representatives. And our tight collaboration with AWS also comes to the ideas that we bring in this blueprint. So I will describe the blueprint that we built, what were our main approaches and design capabilities that we built upon that, and in the end of my presentation, I will actually describe our solutions in AWS. So this is a shared responsibility model that Samir has discussed previously, and it seems it's very, very difficult for the customers to understand the shared responsibility model and what is their responsibility and what is the public cloud responsibility. So no matter where you are in the journey, what you need to be aware of is the cloud platform shared responsibility model. So this is the key understanding in the security once you come to design the security for your environment. While the cloud vendors and others are responsible for the security of the cloud, like compute, storage, and networking, we as customers are responsible for our data, our applications, identity and access management, the operating system, and various configurations, including the security gateway and the security groups and others. And as the statement from Gartner, there are a lot of security failures that can be due to the customer's fault. So this is one of the key items that bring us to create and design a blueprint for the public cloud, for AWS, that will provide the best security and will provide all our knowledge and cybersecurity knowledge that we have in this space into the public cloud. So since this shared model is a little bit confusing, the blueprint takes into account our security approach, which is tied up to the shared model. We actually built what we call a systematic security approach, where once you build it, it is right, and it will be a sustainable model, also to sustain changes in the environment. And as we know, the public cloud is changing very dynamically. And so we understand that what our customer know for their knowledge in the on-prem and in the data center is not suitable for the public cloud. So this is, of course, all the knowledge that we have gained is not suitable for the public cloud. The public cloud introduce changes that we need to adapt once we build our security for the public cloud. It is a very complex systems and environment. We need to take into considerations increased attack surface that can come from our on-prem, for our platform as a service, from our function as a service. We have a lack of visibility and tracking of the public cloud environment. This is ever-changing workload. It can come from container, function as a service, VM, mobile, etc. We have many new approaches challenges when we develop applications in the public cloud, DevOps, DevSecOps, and automation that is coming into the public cloud approach, granular privilege and key management, and compliance and regulation. All of these are very, very complex to maintain, and we need to take all of those items into consideration when we build security for the public cloud. So when we got to build the blueprint, we took into considerations all of the issues that I have mentioned before, and how all the key items that we have here, like the network perimeter security and the advanced threat prevention, all the other attack vectors, the security by design, the systematic approach that I have mentioned, how we consider segmentation and micro-segmentation into our blueprint, the notion of agility, automation, and efficiency and elasticity, borderless, when we mean one approach that can fit them all the public cloud vendors and the private cloud vendors, how we can build a security and a blueprint that will fit them all, and of course compliance to the environment. So the CloudGuard is a family, is a product family in Check Point that provide checkpoint security to the public cloud. We have several, from the CloudGuard family, we have the CloudGuard network security, private and public cloud network security. We have the CloudGuard security posture management, what we call CloudGuard Dome 9. We have the CloudGuard workload protection to protect containers and services, the CloudGuard web app and API protection, and the CloudGuard intelligence and threat hunting, what we call CloudGuard Log IC. What I will do in this lecture, I will focus on the CloudGuard network and network security, where I present the basic knowledge of how we protect the environment from the networking aspect, and then I will explain why this is not enough. After my lecture, you will understand why CloudGuard networking security is not enough. It is a mandatory step, and this is our first step to secure your public cloud, but this is not enough, and why do we need in the public cloud also our other products in the CloudGuard family, and I will give a brief introduction about them as well. So from the CloudGuard networking security, we have the CloudGuard family, CloudGuard IaaS, what we call infrastructure as a service, that is capable for the advanced threat prevention and all our cyber capabilities in the cloud. This CloudGuard is able to connect to several public cloud and private cloud vendors, which provide private and public cloud security, automated security and blueprint, as I mentioned, agility and elasticity, native security controls integration, and north, south, and east-west networking security, and I will describe it once I will get into the blueprint as well. So according to the shared responsibility model, when we come to mention what is CloudGuard networking security in AWS, we built our networking security on top of the networking infrastructure that AWS provides, and on top of that, once you deploy our security gateway and integrate it natively into the environment, we bring to it all our intellectual property of Check Point with all our what we call software blades, with anti-bot, anti-malware, the intrusion prevention system, and threat emulation, threat extraction, and this is all our intellectual property, and how we bring it to the AWS environment, and how we well integrate into this environment. So how do you combine them all? How do you take all the challenges in the public cloud and you benefit from all checkpoint security, cyber security, and you combine them together. So we have started to build a model with the hub and spoke model, where we took into consideration also the highly availability. So this is the reason that we use two hubs in this diagram. Every spoke here represents an application. It can represent application, business logic, department, and all. It doesn't mean a specific spoke, but it can also be an application. The blueprint as well, it took into consideration the agility, efficiency, and everywhere once we built it. There is a link in the slides. There is a link that you can take and see all an extension PDF that describes our blueprint, how to build it, and best practices to build our blueprint to the toe. The blueprint took into consideration several key roles in the company. So when there are several departments and several roles in the company that are responsible, that are developing the application, that are responsible for all the IT and the security ops. So you have DevOps. So that and each one of them has different concerns. DevOps, he wants to deploy an application without roadblocks from the IT and without roadblocks from the security. The infrastructure operation is just want to create an infrastructure that can answer the demands of the DevOps, and of course the security is responsible for the security and to mitigate threats and to follow up the business. So our blueprint took into consideration the different key roles in the company, and how can we build a security model that can fit all the roles in the company. So this is in high level what we took into consideration. We have our VPC in AWS. It can be multiple VPCs. We defined edges to the VPC, what we call north, south, and south hub. We have connectivity to the internet only from the edges of the VPC. We have the north hub and the south hub, where we place our CloudGuard gateways to inspect all the traffic that is coming out and coming in from my public cloud environment. We connected every one of the hubs to the spokes, and as I mentioned before, our spokes can represent application, can represent business logic, department, and etc. We have connected, if you can see, the north hub is connected with a unidirectional arrow to the spokes to mention that my incoming traffic from the internet, where basically I will put all my web application, my e-commerce applications that I wish to expose to the internet, where all my logic and basically all my sales operation is coming from the internet to my public cloud, where I publish my application, will be coming from the north hub. So over there I wish to create a unidirectional connectivity from the north hub to my applications. From my application to the south hub, it is a bidirectional arrow that represents that my application can get into my branch, can get into the internet, and as you can see here, there is no connectivity between the north hub and spoke number 2. That means that I can also create, and here I use the shared responsibility, and I use the AWS construct to disable the connectivity between the internet and spoke number 2. So I can do it in the CloudGuard gateway with a dedicated policy, but I can also do it via the AWS security groups or VPC peering. I can disable the connectivity between the North Hub and spoke number 2, and then it's kind of like I blocked all the connectivity from the internet to my spoke number 2. So here, this is the basic model of our blueprint. Of course, it can be, as I mentioned, dev, test, production, all the spokes. So the DevOps, as a spoke owner, he wishes to develop his application as fast as possible without any roadblocks. So as a spoke owner, he can add, remove, scale his application at any time and at any required speed. He is not aware of the South Hub or from the North Hub. Once he got his connectivity to the internet and all his connectivity concerns are matched, he can just develop, create his application without worrying or without being blocked. The IT operations is just responsible to maintain the North Hub and the South Hub, how he can scale the North Hub and the South Hub, and as a hub owner, I have a control and visibility on all the lateral and perimeter traffic inside my VPC and inside my AWS environment. The security operation is responsible for the policy of the North Hub and the South Hub, and can have visibility of all the traffic that is coming in from the internet, that is going out from the internet. It can do an advanced threat prevention and have visibility on and control on all the environment that is getting in and out, and can also benefit from a segmentation between connectivity between two applications. That means that if spoke number 1 wish to create a connectivity with spoke number 2, it will reach through the South Hub, and the South Hub via a dedicated policy can control on what is being transferred between the spokes. So and of course everything is automated, and the security is automated and is everywhere. So this is our key pillars of our blueprint. It is security, automated, and everywhere in our blueprint. So now I will go and describe our solutions in the AWS Marketplace. This solution can be found in the AWS Marketplace. You can deploy it via a CloudFormation template or Terraform, and I have a slide dedicated for it. So our first solution is CloudGuard Networking Security for AWS for a single VPC solution, where we utilize the capability of AWS ingress routing, where you can deploy a single gateway or a cluster gateway into your VPC, and without changing the public IPs of your environment, you can inspect all the incoming and outgoing traffic that you have in your EC2 instances deployed in the VPC. The second solution is related to our integration with the transit gateway. It is automatic cross VPC solution, where we have the transit gateway as a main hub in the middle of the presentation. The transit gateway is able to connect your on-prem to your AWS environment. It connects to several VPCs, and we have the North Hub and the South Hub, where all the traffic getting into your environment from the internet is hitting an external load balancer that can distribute all the connections coming from the internet to an auto-scaling group of security gateways. The security gateways are examine the traffic, are filtering the traffic, and prevent any attack with all checkpoints cyber advanced security. And once the traffic is is free of malicious activity and malicious content, it is being forwarded to the transit gateway to its destination. So this is the north hub, this is the left VPC that described here, and the right VPC is the south hub that is responsible for all the connectivity that we call east-west. That means that one VPC wish to create a connectivity with another VPC, or VPC connectivity to the on-prem, or VPC that wish to create a connection to the internet. So it will hit the right side VPC. Where we also have an auto-scaling group of security gateway that are also filtering and do all the prevention and IPS engines on the traffic that is being transferred through these security gateways. And the third solution that we have in AWS is a cluster solution, what we call cluster, that we have, it means two security gateways that are working on the same VPC and synchronizing between of them all the connections. That means that they are work like in highly available model, that one is active and getting all the traffic and handling all the traffic, and another one is a backup, that once it will fail, the second one will get into an active state and will maintain all the connectivity that the active handled before. This solution, what we call a cluster or HA solution, that it can be also connected to the transit gateway, is able to inspect the traffic for the east-west use case that I mentioned before. So this is another solution that is different from the auto-scaling group and more suitable for east-west while we integrate with the transit gateway. So how this meets the architectural principle and challenges that I mentioned before, all of what I described in the blueprint. So we provide the perimeter security for AWS. Via our blueprint, we provide segmentation, agility, automation. All our solutions are automated, and borderless solution because it provides a solution for several of the public clouds. Our deployment methods, as I mentioned, we appear in the AWS marketplace. You can find us in the AWS marketplace. Just look for CloudGuard IaaS or Check Point. You will see our solution. We have our CloudFormation templates. We have our dedicated secure knowledge page where we provide all our CloudFormation templates that user can deploy, and we also have our GitHub that is called Check Point Software CloudGuard IaaS, where we provide our Terraform deployments for several of our CloudFormation templates in our secure knowledge document. So just to summarize, our blueprint is maintained the main pillars of the blueprint, that is security, automated, and everywhere. And now that I've covered all the CloudGuard networking security, is it enough? Is it enough that now I have my environment in AWS, it is tightly secured from the networking aspect, all the traffic that is getting in, getting out is inspected. But what about the keys of my environment? What about the storage? What about my cloud accounts that users can create? What about my function as a service, Lambda function that I have in my account, containers, IAM roles, and etc.? How do I secure them? I didn't mention it, and this is messaging queues or databases like platform as a service. I need to secure them as well. The CloudGuard networking security is only the first layer of security. This is the mandatory layer of security, but this is only the first layer of security once you build a security for your public cloud. In order to secure the items, the domain that I mentioned here, we need to have more security products to be deployed for the public cloud. And here is the idea where we bring our other CloudGuard security family products. And the first one of them is the CloudGuard Security Posture Management, what we call DOM9. That DOM9 examines the configuration mismatches that you have in your environment. For example, you open your S3 for the public internet. You have some kind of a compliance problems in your environment. You have security groups that are open and not as compliant to your policy. So you need a system that is checking your environment and giving you and can also even mitigate and fix issues that are not according to your policy. The other product is called CloudGuard Log IC. And this is a product that examines VPC flow logs and CloudTrail logs for your environment. It is different from the CloudGuard DOM9 that examines the configuration. Here it checks the actual logs of the environment. That means that if you have an actual issue in your environment, a malicious machine that is doing a malicious activity, you will see it in the VPC logs. If you have a malicious user that is doing an API calls that it is not allowed to do, you will see it in the CloudTrail logs. So Log IC is the intelligence and threat hunting of your environment. And the third product is CloudGuard Workload Security that is aimed to protect Lambda protection, platform as a service protection, container security, the CloudGuard Workload Protection. It is an automated security for cloud workloads, including virtual machine, containers, and function. It can be like a runtime protection, vulnerability management, and governance for your environment. So this is the main CloudGuard family, and I hope that you understood now how it all fits together. I have a dedicated slide for it, where I mentioned here you see our blueprint and the CloudGuard networking security, AWS, where it provides the APIs to manage all the environment. We have all the internet, and as I mentioned before, CloudGuard DOM9 checks the configuration of the environment via the APIs that AWS provides. CloudGuard Log IC has the ability to check the VPC flow logs and the activity log of your environment and checks what is going on in your environment. And the CloudGuard Workload Protection is responsible for the Kubernetes protection, Lambda, platform as a service, and other services that AWS provides to your environment. So to summarize, we have our security, internet ingress and egress. We have simplified security hub via our blueprint. We have single view of cloud assets. We have strong and continuous compliance in the cloud and advanced threat analysis with our capability of Check Point cyber security. Moving assets to the cloud has its own challenges. I hope that by now you understand the challenges and you're also familiar with. Securing assets on the cloud is possible, but and you need to take advantage of our knowledge or an experience. As Jonathan mentioned in the beginning, we have 26 years of experience designing security and cyber solutions in the networking and in the IT industry. And by using AWS and the capabilities of AWS, we make the security and the cloud more easy to use and maintain. So I will hand over to Jonathan for our third and last poll.
Thank you, Daniel. That was great. I'm sure everybody will agree from the audience that it was a great presentation. I really appreciate that. Let's get to the last poll for this evening, or for today. Actually, it's evening where I am, but not where you are. The last question is, how can we follow up with you after this webinar? Answer number one, I'd like to be contacted by a Check Point cloud security expert. Answer two, I'd be happy to receive a personalized demo of CloudGuard. Question three, and actually I'm giving a little bit of spoiler, but please contact me about the new AWS security checkup with a $100 AWS credit. Answer number four, I'd like to be contacted by my Check Point account team or my Check Point partner, because Check Point works with partners around the world. Answer number five is, I'm okay, no need to follow up with me afterwards, thanks. So I'm going to leave all of those open for a while. I'm being told that I have to keep the poll open for at least another 20 seconds. So I'll be happy to get some feedback here, and this is the feedback is going to be very happily responded to by the Check Point field team. We'll be very happy to reach out to you and talk to you if you have any questions or you need any help. I see that most of the people are happy and don't need to be followed up with afterwards, which is great. But I see that there are some people that are already asking about the security checkup. I'm going to talk about that in a couple of seconds, and I'm going to stop the voting. Thank you. Let's go and do more interesting stuff. So I did promise about 3 exciting offers. I'm going to do them one by one. I'm going to start with something which is called inside Check Point. It's called Sandblast Now. Sandblast Now does advanced threat identification. But in this case, it's using AWS traffic mirroring. And we've just, in fact, in this call, this is the first time that we're publicly announcing that we are in early availability. We're doing a pilot on AWS. It's the first cloud provider that we're working with because of our deep relationship. And we're actually taking advantage of something in AWS called traffic mirroring. So what we do is we are able to collect information to do deep packet inspection and instant observability, including encrypted TLS traffic from your VPC, from your VPCs, using our advanced threat prevention technologies, but we don't do threat prevention per se. We're using those technologies, but we're actually not doing any traffic. We don't stop any traffic. It doesn't have any impact on the traffic. So we get great visibility with no impact on the traffic or on throughput, and it's a fully managed SaaS app deployed automatically in minutes. In fact, this Sandblast Now already exists for on-prem, but this is the first time that it's going into the cloud. And it's very exciting. You get a whole bunch of advanced artificial intelligence analysis of your traffic in your network. And so the first special offer is that we would be very excited to have any of you that are interested to join the early availability. There's a link there that you can see, and I'll send it in the slides afterwards. And you can also look in the attachments. By the way, there's a whole bunch of attachments in the tabs in the bottom left of your screen. And you can download all of this stuff and look into all of this and get more detail. And you can click to join the early availability program, sign up for the Cyber Defense Center. We'll send you a Terraform module, and you can edit your AWS credentials and launch it yourself, and then you can view the cloud network traffic very quickly, and we will provide close support during the early availability program and analyze all the customer findings for you on your behalf. So this, again, is using AWS traffic mirroring. So we're actually looking at the traffic, but we're not stopping the traffic in any way. It's more of a detection rather than a prevention. It gives you great analysis into what's going on in the threats in your network. And this is the first special offer. And you can download it from your attachments or look into your attachments if you want. I'm going on to the second special offer. So this is something completely different. And the completely different is something which we call Cyber Range, which we've been doing at our Check Point international events. But considering the fact that we don't have very many events at the moment, for obvious reasons, we decided to make it virtual because we know that people are getting quite tired of all these webinars, and I appreciate you guys joining. But this is something completely different. So you have a virtual event that's going to be happening in the U.S. At 11:30 PST Pacific time on the 31st. It's a Friday, so it's a great way to start your weekend. So you get entered into an exciting online training and simulation platform. It's hosted on AWS. You get to showcase your cybersecurity skills. You get to use some of our CloudGuard cloud security capabilities to defend a fictitious company against cloud threats. So you have to do your own analysis, and you compete against other teams, get prizes, and we will order you lunch. So as soon as you hook up, 15 minutes afterwards, we'll send you a voucher. You get to order, I think it's Uber Eats or something like that, and you can order lunch while you're competing against other people. But the funny thing is, I've seen this work at one of our events. People put their heads down and they don't lift their heads for an hour and a half because it's so exciting. It's stressful, frustrating, interesting, exciting. You've got 10 missions that you have to complete. For anybody who is an engineer or was an engineer and wants to test their skills on a real, well, not really real, but it's a virtual simulated environment, and it's great gamification. Here is the link that you can sign up, and you can also go into the attachments and download that and sign up and tell your friends and spread the word. It's going to be super exciting, and I've got to tell you something, it's a lot more fun than these webinars. Trust me on that one. So, and here is the last one. This is very exciting as well. This is the first time that we're announcing this. This is called the Cloud Security Checkup. How secure is your VPC? This is number 3, surprise number 3. So you can check your own cloud security posture in a few days. It uses a subset of CloudGuard network security, CloudGuard IS, in traffic mirroring mode and posture management, which is Dome 9. And what you do is we will send you a link. You will get a CloudFormation template, and you deploy it yourself. And there's a diagram of how that works. It actually deploys a couple of machines, instances in your VPC. You have to choose which VPC you want to test it on. And it will then, after a few days, you choose how many days to deploy it for. It will check all the traffic and send you back your reports after a few days. Now, we will give it to you for free, but there are AWS rates that will apply depending on how big your VPC is, how many EC2s you have, how many days you're scanning, and how much traffic there is during the scan. However, AWS has been incredibly generous, and they're going to give a $100 AWS credit to anybody who signs up for this security checkup. So what will happen is our cloud security experts will contact you if you sign up for this, and then they'll walk you through it, and then towards the end of the process, when you get your report, they'll send you your $100 of AWS credit, and that's basically AWS saying, thank you for using our services, and it's Check Point saying, thank you for checking our products, and also checking to see how secure your VPC is. And the report that you'll get at the end will tell you about malicious communications, about CNC servers, compromised servers, scanners, crypto miners that we have identified, the granularity of which EC2, which instance generated which malicious traffic, suspicious east-west lateral traffic inside a VPC, and also best practices results from Dome 9, from posture management, including risky misconfigurations inside your EC2s, identity and access management, RDS and S3 buckets. This is an example of the first page of the cloud security report. You'll see on the left, that's more the cloud network security stuff. On the right, it's more your posture management stuff. Again, this is a subset of our capabilities, but it will show you how secure your network is, how secure your deployment, your VPC is. I mean, if it comes out and it says nothing, then you guys are obviously doing the right thing. Your security team is doing a great job. And if it comes out with a whole bunch of things of red flags, then that's something that you need to check out. And you can check it out together with us, or together with AWS or whatever you want. But it's knowledge is power. So I'm sending a link. It's also inside the attachments. You can download from the attachments, and you can also, we'll send that afterwards to all the people who participated. And that is the first time that we're talking about this formally and live. So please take advantage of that. And again, take advantage of the $100 AWS credit. Just a couple of more messages. As I mentioned before, or as Daniel mentioned before, the Cloud Security Blueprint, there's 2 documents, an introduction document, and then a document that provides you with architectures and solutions. It's maybe a superset of what Daniel presented today. You can download them both from Check Point or through the attachments. Please go into the AWS Marketplace. It's a great place for you to trial all of our products. You get 30-day free trials, and you can always contact us and we can help you, walk you through that. CloudGuard IS, Dome 9 and Logic, which is network security, posture management, and threat intelligence. And I'm running through because I know there's a whole bunch of questions. And again, you can also go into the checkpoint.com website. You can click to get a free trial, a free demo. You can click to contact us, and you can click to do this checkup. And the questions for your experts, please send the questions in. I'm seeing that there are some already, and I'm going to look at them and then add them to, yes, the first question is put the link back for the AWS competition, please. If you go into the attachments, you can see them next to the Q&A. You'll be able to find the link. It should be there, and you could be able to link back to that, but I'm going to run back very quickly, which is one of the things that I can do on BrightTalk. And as I'm speaking, I'll get to your event. Here it is over here. And the link is there. Oh, sorry, I ran too fast forward. There's the link, but you should be able to get it from the attachments as well. Please look into that. And if you've got a problem or if you're not able to get to it, please send me an email, and I will follow up afterwards. So the next question is going to, okay, disregard my question. Good. Question for Samir. How can I get started on AWS? Do you have a free tier, and how can I learn more about AWS?
Yeah, so absolutely, we do have a free tier, and if you go to AWS, you can just search